What's going on, motivators? We got another video. First off, I want to say thanks to everyone who subscribed. The channel has been monetized. Hey, this wouldn't have happened without you. Appreciate the help so far in this journey. We got to talk about this new approval rating and the left going crazy because of the Supreme Court's ruling. Let's get into this.
Senator Jeff Landry filed an emergency executive order suspending the primaries just days after the Supreme Court of the United States struck down Louisiana's second majority black congressional district in a decision that could boost Republicans' balance of power in Congress. Democrats in the state filed several lawsuits in response, saying the effort to pause elections is unconstitutional. Louisiana's Attorney General defended the governor's actions, saying no voting should be held before a new map can be drawn. Other southern states like Alabama and Tennessee are joining that rush to redraw maps after.
Like I've said before, there are going to be countless lawsuits. There's a whole bunch in Florida already. They're trying to bring a lawsuit against Louisiana, but the Supreme Court ruled already. And that lawsuit they just brought, guess what? The Supreme Court just voted it down and said Louisiana could move on. So from the lawsuit they filed against Louisiana, it just came in that the Supreme Court ruled on Monday. Supreme Court on Monday night granted a request to immediately finalize its opinion in Louisiana v. Calais, in which it struck down the state's congressional map to allow Louisiana to draw a new map in time for the 2026 election. That map is expected to favor Republicans who currently hold 4 of the state's 6 seats in the U.S. House of Representatives, but could pick up to 1 or 2 more under the revised map. So they were trying to stop it and saying they don't have time. Louisiana was like, hold up. Before we start the whole primary, let's go ahead and redraw. And they tried to sue and trick the Supreme Court, but they challenged it immediately.
To the Supreme Court ruling. The Republican governors of Alabama and Tennessee announcing special sessions for next week. Alabama facing hurdles with this, where they can only actually act if the Supreme Court clears the way. But in the meantime, Tennessee's primary isn't until August, giving lawmakers there plenty of time to redraw that map. And
we still got time for Tennessee. But if you look at the map right now, Florida +4. Florida is being challenged. Ron DeSantis just passed that yesterday, so that's good. North Carolina is trying to get Clyburn's seat out. That's like 14 seats right here. Virginia, we're still waiting on the ruling for what the Supreme Court of Virginia has to say. We're going to find out this month. It's time by the latest 2-3 weeks from now.
The referendum approved a new congressional map favoring Democrats 10-1, with 2 Republican-led lawsuits challenging the legality of it. Because of the map changes and extra time needed, House election primaries will now be in August with early vote.
And like I said, it's about time. The Republicans are playing fair. They're fighting fire with fire. I mean, I believe that Kemp should have delayed his process in Georgia and get those 2 seats out.
Them down with dogs to keep them from voting. Okay, let's start with that. So when they say that problem is gone, it's not gone. No. Because you're still doing it.
That's the thing. Those people are going crazy over what? They're going crazy. If you would listen to those people, you would think that black people cannot vote anymore, right? My thing is, do I understand what happened? And a lot of black people may say, well, back in the early days, as far as civil rights movement, this was afforded to help the whole discrimination. I agree with that. I believe now is not the same. You cannot say Democrats were not taking advantage of this and making it fit their own narrative. To say that, you're lying. So 2 things could be true. It was very good as far as the time that it was enacted. And also, Democrats are taking advantage of this and making it way more easier for them to keep seats as far as gerrymandering. Plain and simple.
The first person in his family to enjoy full civil rights. And he is still alive today, and I am still alive today, and I have been discriminated against. And now I have to tell my children that they have less civil rights than I did when I was born.
That's true.
That is disgusting, despicable, and I am devastated by this particular Supreme Court decision, even though we did know this was coming.
We
What,
knew.
what about,
Wait
wait
a
a second, what about Clarence Thomas? Didn't he stick up for his own?
No,
No, he did not.
He did not.
No.
And
He
by
is
the
part
way,
of the majority.
You know, what I find to be very strange is, depending on how you view this, on the books, right, you could say you have less rights on the books in what it is. But in reality, you have more. Sunny Hostin is on a TV show, and she's touting that people had less rights, making millions. Everyone have been discriminated against. I believe white have, black have, Asian have, all of those races. The thing is America racist, or are there some racist people? I do believe there are racist people. And it just goes into good versus bad in my way of looking at it. United States is not racist because it affords everybody the opportunity to do what they can. At one point, you could have judged and say it could have been. Nowadays, I would say no. But there are people who are because they're bad. And that's in every group, in every sector. So that's my way of looking at it. There are evil and there is good. So to me, the divide on what I'm looking at is not so much into race. It's good versus evil. Evil people are going to find any way to put down someone.
They may eradicate virtually all political representation for you in some of those states. That's an extraordinary thing.
Correct. And it's also going to hurt because of the tit for tat element of it, because of the pushback. It's going to hurt conservative voters in majority blue states because they're going to have their districts chopped up. They're going to have their representative, their citizens are not going to be able to have conservative representation because of the battle.
So my thing is, if a conservative colored person is placed in office, will that take representation away from the people in there? Will that still mean that a black person or person of color is still being represented in Congress? Make that make sense to me. The way they're projecting this is black people are synonymous with the Democrats, which is mind-blowing. They're telling you the quiet part out loud, and they're not even realizing that they're saying that. Conservative could be black. Conservative could be in a minority. And if they vote for a conservative down there, you still have representation. Representation does not mean that it has to be a black Democrat. What is wrong with those people? Am I the only one who's realizing that? Let me know in the comments.
And said, okay, but it's too much. Now, we can't have any kind of race consciousness when it comes to things like education, getting into school. We can't have race consciousness when it comes to politics or to voting. But when it comes to, cops stopping someone, when it comes to immigration policy, we can be as race conscious as we want. They only say colorblind when it's a policy that helps non-white people. They never pull that for a...
But they themselves are colorblind because they don't see conservative as being black. Make that make sense. Make that make sense that conservative black people don't represent the Voters' Rights Act. They're not part of it. These people are absurd. They are absurd. Black people are black people regardless of which side they're on. So representation is being made regardless it's a Democrat or Republican that is being represented in the South. As long as it's a black person, who cares? And that's why I have arguments with people in my comments. They're like, it's all over. Is it really? Can some black people still be represented if they're good candidates? Of course they can. Not because it won't be a Democrat means that it's not. The idea was not for Democrats or Republicans. The Voters' Rights Act Section 2 was for black people, not Democrat black people. But that's what they're going to make you think. Black people only vote Democrat. I digress.
Policy that hurts non-white people, and these justices, what they've done now is unleash it. We're seeing all the red states are now trying to speed redistrict, and what it really is racist Photoshop. They're putting it all through an Instagram filter to make everything whiter, and you're going to see the blue states come back in kind, saying, well, then we're going to redistrict like.
If it's not Democrat, it cannot be a person of color, and if it's a person of color, it does not matter. They are not black or brown-skinned person. These people are the racist ones. That's what I said. You cannot have it both ways. You cannot want racism to end, but still have things that's going to propel it. To end it is to have a level playing field. Take this out. Take it out, and let's be fair. Byron Donald is in Florida. He got elected. How did he get elected? People still voted for him. And it wasn't because of this gerrymandering thing.
Like Louisiana, Mississippi, Georgia, Alabama. We know Florida has already started this past week to do it. So we're just in, we're just spiraling at this point.
I know the 3 justices who dissented in this opinion believe that the sky is falling. The 6 in the majority, however, as I understand it, believe that it was a decision narrowly tailored to this district in question. And I think any honest broker, we showed it up on the screen, if you looked at that district and did not know the political leanings of it or the racial demographics of it and saw it snaking from Baton Rouge up to Shreveport, you would say gerrymandered. It is the very definition on paper of a gerrymandered district.
Well, that's the issue.
But I would take a step back because you keep using the word represented. And I think this is really, really critical.
We all could see this map. This is disappointing. This is very disappointing. And the GOP draw it, and it goes back into looking like how a map should be. Not a skirt around the whole state. Like, what is that? But again, I believe it's being fair right now. Democrats won't believe it's fair because they have used this as an advantage for themselves throughout the year. And Democrats do not like when anybody plays the same game that they're playing. We've seen the Baltimore map. It started pretty much the way that you see on the left for the GOP map. And it turned out to be something that is what the current map is on the left, on the right for Louisiana. It's crazy snaking. Same thing in New York. It's just going across bridges, doing a whole bunch of shenanigans. S-turns, U-turns. Those things are gerrymandered beyond compare. And the only reason why they did it is not they were following the Voters' Right Act Section 2. They were doing it purposefully to win seats.
As many become further entrenched in identity and ideology first mindsets, we seem to believe that we are only represented when somebody has the same attributes as us, whether that be race or gender or physical attributes or ideological leanings.
Or somebody who cares about your community because they live.
And again, this guy hits it right on the head. This is Democrats' mindset and their way of thinking. You have to be able to think exactly how I am and be able to represent me. Unfortunately, that's not how Republicans think or conservative. Yes, they believe that Democrats are too far to the left. Democrats do not believe a conservative black person or brown person is representation for anyone or black people in the South. The only one who could represent black people in the South are a Democrat black person. This is crazy. I hope people see what they're trying to pull out right here.
No, but the goal of redistricting is to maintain communities of interest, to respect existing boundaries.
No,
yeah, that
you
is
can't
by the
look at
law.
This is happening because Donald Trump demanded Texas rig it a year and a half ago. This is happening because Donald Trump demanded Texas.
Again, these people, they're making my mind and my head hurt. History only started with Donald Trump. Nothing prior to Donald Trump matters. Every 2 years, New York have tried to gerrymander. They've been doing this for years. But don't mind this. Only when Donald Trump said something about it in 2025, that's when it started. These people make me sick. They should make you sick too.
Hold on.
Have you looked
it's
at
a response to
California's
Trump.
map? Have you looked
Let me
at
let
the fact
Pete
that
finish
there's a
his
single
thought.
Republican in New England? Not one Republican in New England represents anyone in the U.S. House of Representatives.
Wow, the senator from Maine is going to be shocked to learn that.
Facts. That is it. Democrats have been lying to people and they make you think like you're the one who's going crazy. No, Democrats are the crazy one. Remember, whatever they're accusing you of, that means they have been doing it themselves for years.
Voters with African Americans. You can see it right here. Look, Trump's approval among African Americans at this point in term one, he was at 12%. You know, he's been losing ground with a lot of people. He's gaining ground with African Americans. He's up to 16% at this point.
Wow. Trump is gaining with African Americans. People talk about the Voters' Rights Act and how it's diminishing black people from voting. But the opposite is being said. Don't listen to what those people are saying. The opposite. Trump is now 4% higher from his first term now into his second terms. A lot of black people are waking up and they're seeing through the madness that Democrats have placed for years, trying to overshadow their shenanigans.
And you say, this isn't that big of a shift. But I will tell you, Republicans absolutely love this shift that's going on because Democrats have had such a long-term advantage. The fact that he's actually gaining ground versus where he was in term number one, this has major implications for elections down the line because Democrats, especially in a lot of these tight races, you talk about places like Georgia, right down in the South, you see this type of movement for Trump actually gaining ground. This could have major ramifications and help put Republicans over the top in a number of southern places in the mid.
That is wild. That is wild. Not only we have the Supreme Court ruling on Section 2, we also have an increase with black and minority voters for Donald Trump. So the midterms, it remains to be seen. That red wave might be on its way, and it might be crashing a whole bunch of feelings away. The Democrats' feelings, that is, liberal tears. Anyway, let me know what you think inside the comments. All right, motivators, if you enjoy what you've seen and heard, please like, comment, share. But most importantly, subscribe to A Black Veteran's Perspective. Stay motivated.